Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you are new. Today's video is a watch me work on a set of custom press-on nails that I did for my friend last October. She took a Disney trip and requested something Hocus Pocus themed. To start off, I'm painting the tan nails white just so that the tan shows up a little bit better since it is a syrup gel. However, I do think that if I were to do something similar to this again, I would probably not use a white background just because personally I didn't end up liking how it looked. Then I'm using this dark jelly blue color from Model 1s to paint the base for the thumb and the pinky. I did about 2 to 3 coats of each of those colors on the nails, and now I'm taking this sparkly blue-purple color from Model 1s and I'm putting that on just the thumb and the pinky. I wanted this to kind of mimic like a night sky. Then I am using the Yogurt Gel Syrup 33 for my tan background color. I believe I do about 2 to 3 coats of this one as well on top of the white that I already painted. Again, like I said, I think I would probably leave the white out next time. I think I had tried to do no white background, and I think I just didn't like how it looked either. So maybe the solution next time is a different color altogether. Since I don't have any design on the thumb and pinky, I did go ahead and top coat them. Now onto the character nails, starting off with the Mary nail. I am taking the long liner brush from Nails by Dev and I'm mapping out the outline of the hair. I started with the leftmost line of her hair and I created these 3 lumps where I expect each tier of the hair to hit. And then I work bottom up, filling in and creating the rest of her hair. The reason that I do it this way is so that I can get her face shape in and know how proportionate the rest of the hair needs to be compared to how big the face area is. Because remember, the 3 lumps on the left side are just a guess. So I create a line across the top where her forehead will be. I fill in the left side. I create a little spot for her ear using a dotting tool. And then I keep making lines and squiggles and filling it in until I get what I want. It sounds kind of silly to say, but that's really what a lot of painting with a reference picture is. It's a lot of looking at your reference picture, painting a little bit, looking again, painting a little bit, and so on and so forth. I remember one of my art teachers when I was younger telling us that when you're painting like a portrait or something that you have like a reference of, you should do a lot more looking at the reference than actually painting. So that's why I have the video in 4 times speed, because I do a lot of looking at the picture and then a little bit of painting. But then this way you also get to see my full process. Now that I have the face done, I can work my way further up the hair. And as you can see, my guesstimate was wrong and the rest of the hair was not proportionate to the space that the face would take up. So I just took a silicone tool and I erased the top portion of the hair since I knew I was going to have to redo it. And I guess it's important to note that I don't cure this until I have done the entire hair, because I knew that I was going to have to edit some pieces of it. And once you cure the gel, it's there, it's solidified. But all the way up until you cure it, you can keep erasing it and fixing things as needed, which is a big reason why I like working with gel. Another reason why I never cured it when I knew I had something that I wanted to keep is because I kind of wanted this to be one even seamless layer, so that way I didn't have a bunch of lumps and bumps from curing multiple times. I created the other 2 tiers of the hair and then topped it all off with this little curly swirl. Once it's finished, it's very reminiscent of an ice cream cone. I cured that for 60 seconds and then did a second layer of the same purple, and then I moved on to the highlights of the hair. For these highlights, I am using the Beetles Gel Polish shade 850. Before I started on the highlight portions of the hair, I did wipe the entire nail with some alcohol just to get rid of the inhibition layer from the previous polish. This will help keep the light purple from spreading and give the edges more definition. The highlights are going to be on the rightmost side of the hair. So for the first tier, I'm following the hairline and then bringing it down around to the right side of the face. For the highlights on the second and third tier, I'm basically just creating these pizza shapes. They're triangles, but with like a rounded edge. Also on the third tier, I am taking a little bit of it up into the swirl. And finally, creating the last touches on the hair using the dark purple from before. I'm making these little lines within the highlighted areas of the hair to give it some dimension. Now I'm taking a black liner gel to create the background details. I'm making these dots and some sparkly glitter stars. And top coating since this one is done. Now on to the next purple color scheme nail. It's the vacuum. The first thing I do for this design is create the top and the bottom of the vacuum so that I know how tall I want it to be. And then I break it down into shapes. So this one, the body of the vacuum is like a trapezoid, but with rounded edges. So I created the top and the bottom, connect the sides with slightly rounded edges, and then I fill in the space in between. Now for the head portion of the vacuum, this will consist of two parts, a lighter purple and a darker purple part. For the lighter purple, I am making yet another trapezoid shape, smaller one this time. And then for the dark purple, guess what? Another trapezoid. This one is going to be the skinniest, smallest of all of them. And then adding in the details. There's a little crease on the light purple part here. We're going to add in the handle, the dots and the glitter stars, and that's it. 3 trapezoids later, and you've got a vacuum. So these nails are painted over the course of a couple of days. I just take an hour or so after work every day to paint a couple of nails, and I group them based on color scheme. So day 2, these are the Winnie nail and the Mop nail. The color that I'm using for Winnie's hair is from the Diami Neon Pen series. It is color SW1034. I did swatch this one and the purple from before in my last video, which is a haul video from Sweetie Nail Supply. If you haven't seen that yet, you should definitely check it out. Not forcing your hand, but I'll link it in the description, maybe tag it here, and it would be greatly appreciated if you check that out. Please and thank you. Anyways, moving on to the actual painting of the nail, I started again with the face framing area so that way I could get a better idea of how big everything else was going to be. After doing the face framing area, I then created the 2 peaks on each side. And then once I have the basic shape and outline done, I fill in and add in any extra details that will make the hair look more curly and textured. Once that's all filled in and I have the shape that I want, I cure that for 60 seconds, add a second layer, and then it's time for the shading. For this, I'm using a mix of a little bit of the 1033 and 1034. The shading essentially consists of following the face framing of the hair and then pulling some into the top of the hair to create these creases for the voluminous look, and then adding in a few curly cues here and there and a little bit of detailing to the sides. At the time of recording this was the skinniest brush that I had, and I think that a lot of these details would have been a lot easier if I had a shorter skinny brush to work with, just because with some of the sharp turns or like with the curly cue, it's like a very small circle. It would have been easier to control and create those finer details if I had had a shorter brush. Now I'm just adding in the background details for this nail, and then we will cure it, top coat it, and then done with the Winnie nail. Now it's time for the mop nail. I'm starting out by creating the handle of the mop, and to do this I am using a dotting tool rather than a brush, and this will make sure that I get the rounded top part of the handle. Now I'm working on the shape of the head of the mop. As you can see, there is a little bit of a point where it connects to the handle. Not quite a point, but more just that it's like a skinnier base, and then it widens out the further down you go. Here I am just kind of widening the edges, making it a little bit bigger proportionally, and then filling in the base and starting to curve out the edges and creating the little wispies. Full disclosure, at the time, I had never seen Hocus Pocus, which I feel like is a pretty crazy statement for me because of two reasons. One is that I grew up on Disney and I remember seeing like a bunch of like Disney Channel movies, Disney Channel originals. And then two, I loved Halloween and I was obsessed with like Twitches, Haunted Mansion, Halloween Town, and somehow in all of this time, I never got around to watching Hocus Pocus. Anyways, the only reason that I bring that up is because I fully thought I was painting a white broom and I had no idea that it was a mop until after I painted it. And I tried to make the ends wispier because I thought they were supposed to be like little broom wisps. And now I'm adding the final touches. I put the little lines at the top and I'm adding in the dots and the glitter stars, and then I will top coat and this one is done. Now we're on to the third and final day of these nails. Woohoo! I'm working on the Sarah nail and the actual broom nail. I didn't have any yellows that I liked just straight out of the bottle for this, so I made my own shade by mixing this yellow from Model 1's, this brighter yellow from Apres, and quite a bit of this white from Nails by Def. And I just keep adding these colors until I reach the desired shade that I want. Once again, I'm using my long liner brush and I'm creating the outline for the hair. This hair was easiest to tackle by starting with the outer outline rather than the area around the face like the other two. For one, because now I know that the whole thing will fit inside of the nail. And then for two, because more of the detailed lines are on the inner portion towards her face. And the outer lines are just kind of large squiggles. There's like 3 lumps and then that's it. So now I'm starting to bring it down around where the face area would be, and I've just created the shape for her ear where you see it's like the right portion is like tucked behind her ear. Now that I have that all filled in, I cure it and do a second coat of the base color, and then it's time to do the detail work. The color for the shading is just the yellow Model 1s that we used in the base color for the hair, and with just the teensiest bit of the base color that I created. And the shading is basically just a lot of lines, curvy lines that make her hair look wavy and give it some definition. Rest in peace to the rest of this footage on this nail because basically most of it was out of frame. I don't really know what happened. I really couldn't tell you, but I left a little bit of it in because you do see some pieces, but for the most part, the finishing touches on this nail were all off camera. And our final nail, the broom. Same as with the mop, I'm starting with the handle and I'm using the dotting tool again. And then I'm creating this little, there's a tiny orb where the broom head meets the handle. And I'm starting with that. And then I'm creating the bulb shape of the rest of it. And similar to the Sarah nail, the rest of the footage was out of frame, but it was basically just filling in the shape that I created. And then now I'm doing the detail work here, and as you can see, I'm basically out of frame for this entire thing too. I am just creating a couple of lines for the details of the broom and then doing the dots and stars for the background. Surprise! I know I said that the previous nail was the last design, but at the very last second, I decided to add a Binx to the nail because how could I not? And look at how cute he is! And yeah, that's everything. So this is the Hocus Pocus press-on set that I did, and I'm so happy with them. They turned out so cute, and I love them so much. And that's all from me. I really do hope you enjoyed watching this video. I had a lot of fun making it, and I hope you stick around for any other videos that are coming on my channel. Please like and subscribe. Check out my previous videos, and I hope to see you in the next one. Bye!